Hello trainers, we have another video for you today. We're running some spice now. We're jumping around a little bit because we did hit Legend this season in 20 of Go Battle League, and we're in Master League the last weekend, basically for Master League. There's not much more left to go. So we were running some spice, trying out something rather different, and not for nothing. We were having a lot of Pokemon, or a lot of teams, let's put it that way, that have a lot of water. A lot of water in the back. So chat was wanting me to run some spice a little bit, do something a little bit different. And I'm like, man, we haven't used Kartana in a while with the amount of water users that are in this season that we've been experiencing, especially this last weekend. So we brought in good old Kartana. A lot of people still wanted to see Zygarde, even though we've been using Zygarde for every season once we actually max it out. It's been what, like 3 seasons already at this point. So we ran Zygarde in the lead, best buddy it for no apparent reason. We should probably really best buddy Palkia with some of the mirror matchups that we have here, but you know, this has just been a fun team. We went positive with it, 150 points give or take. Not really, you know, counting at this point with points this season. You know, we went a 5-0 in this stream for the first set, and then we went with a 4-1 and I believe like a 3-2 afterwards, and a couple other positive sets. So it was, like I said, a lot of water Pokemon in the back. You know, it's either the Kyogres, which I don't know why they're making a comeback this last week-ish of the season, and seeing the good old Primarinas with either Waterfall or Charm. Usually it's paired with Rhyperior as well too. So there's just a lot of things in the meta where just grass is just not being respected, and Kartana is just perfect. Even when it comes to certain fairies, you can almost shield once, farm down. You're very close. If you either get the debuff from the crunch from Zygarde or get boost from Kartana, then you would have a lot more play. But overall, like I said, it's just a fun Pokemon. As we were seeing the battles, the first one, the opponent just top left rather quickly. They probably had double water in the back they don't want to see. But jumping into this battle here, Zygarde and Florges, bad lead. So really the best bet that we have is Kartana as a switch. As you notice, we are ABA Dragons, so anytime we see like double fairies in the back, kind of a loss if they play correctly. Sometimes if we see an Avertal fairy, we will lose, or a Ho-Oh fairy in the back, we will lose. So knowing whatever it is in the lead, we may have to fight for switch, or you know, fight for the lead in the beginning, so we don't have to worry about switch in the back for the alignment that we need, where we really kind of end up losing. So in this case here, I noticed sometimes Florges has Rhyperior in the back, or even a water type in this case. So I would sometimes double shield. Most times, sometimes. Crazy enough, I would shield twice for this team. It's just the chip damage you get out of Kartana is just ridiculous. And Zygarde, you don't necessarily need shields if it's not a fairy type. So it's, you know, it takes all the damage. With this Rhyperior lead, we typically let them throw twice, and then we throw Crunch to bait. You like the bait sometimes, but they ended up switching here. Which I think in this case we go in our Palkia. Because like I said, we're EBA Dragons, so just in case we have a fairy in the back, we kind of want to limit dragons against a fairy type. So as we play it out here, they have some residual energy. We're just going for the chip damage as much as we can. We do win CMP. We throw the move, we knock it out. Rhyperior comes back in, so this lets me know that they're probably weak. Palkia in the back, most likely. Yeah, and there we go. We get the shield. So we started shredding. And I'm like, you know what? We're going to let this go. We do survive this. Rock Wrecker. Yeah, not really effective. And it's actually a Giratina. Altered, out of all things. So things are looking really great because we're able to Night Slash to get that chip damage. Zygarde already has a lot of energy. At this point, we can just EQ or double crunch, and we'll be... With all the chip damage from Dragon Tail, things are great. So we just shield just in case it's a Shadow Force, even though we'll probably survive it at that health from Zygarde. Crazy Zygarde survives most things in one hit. Even an Ice Beam from Shadow Mewtwo. Even a Blizzard from Kyogre as well, fun fact. That's without any waterfall chip damage. Verto lead is kind of an interesting lead. We usually stay in, and they do focus blast, which is not great. Chips quite a bit, so they can get to an Oblivion Wing or a Dark Pulse more than anything. So again, we're just trying to chip and hopefully get a debuff so we can get more Dragon Tail damages as much as we can. So the bad part is we lose the alignment that we need in the lead. We're trying to preserve shields because Kartana needs shields. So this is not looking too good. We've been seeing teams sometimes where it's a Ho-Oh in the back. So we're just shielding up here. Keeping Palkia healthy. Chipping as much as we can so we can snipe. They Dark Pulse bait once again, which is not great. Usually, another thing too, just to state, because a lot of people through our TikTok community or even through Twitch, they get confused with Necrozma movesets. Typically, either through PV Poke, they would say like Dark Pulse and Sunsteel Strike is a move. Look at that. Look at this. Look at this. I'm pausing here for a second. Look how much damage that Kartana did to Kyogre. We survived the Surf. We have to farm this down. We have to farm this down in order to win. Because we went CMP. They had the Dark Pulse CMP tie. We win. Back to Necrozma. Dark Pulse, Sunsteel Strike is usually the one type of moveset that's very common. The other one that's very common too is Iron Head and Outrage. So typically, if you are fighting against a Necrozma, their first move will dictate their actual moveset. Those are like the two common movesets. Now, sometimes, I don't know why some trainers would run Sunsteel Strike and Outrage, but that rarely happens. Rarely happens. Once in a blue moon. But anyways, I didn't pay attention what was the lead here. I'm kind of going off a tangent here. But I think I came in with Kartana thinking that there's probably a Ho in the back. So any way that we can get Kartana lined up without Ho-Oh being the hardest counter against the darn thing, because I think we only survived 4 incinerates before we knock out. I don't think things are looking too great here. The Palkia. We are debuffed like crazy. They do actually shield. And I think they... Yeah, it was Palkia lead. They could have got to a spatial run, but I think they died to the move there. Lag from good old gameplay, not from the user, I'm assuming, giving them the benefit of the doubt. Another Palkia lead. We definitely want to win the lead here just to dictate what they have for their switch. Unless they switch out, then we will switch respectively. So they go for the spatial run. Good idea. There we go. Rhyperier's getting shredded. I'm kind of debating here if I want to go down 2 shields, save some health, which I do. I'm kind of guessing it might be a Prima in the back, who knows, but it is a Necrozma, which is not great. This is where I'm like, man, I really need to shield. But we actually get the boost. Now, this is the crazy part. The opponent could have won this game. They could have thrown a move, but they opted to farm down and take all of that Razor Leaf boost damage, which is ridiculous. And then they top off with 2 shields. Save for next season, next battle. I don't know. I think if they actually threw the move with the 2 shields, they actually had a winning situation. I think they really could have won. Into this match here, we have Xerneas in the lead. And then they switch into Necrozma. Dawn Wings. Whoop-de-doo. This is not looking great for us because we're not going to survive a Dark Pulse from here. So we're just going to let it go. We did chip a little bit on the Xerneas, so hopefully with the shield and an energy lead, at least in my head, I could have gotten to like an Earthquake or 2, but seeing how much health they actually have and so much residual energy, they're going to get to double Moon Ice Beam. And I'm just like, not looking good. I guess I should either throw in the move just to save the shield. But now we're shields down, and I'm trying to see if I can chip here. It's looking very uncomfortable. They do let it go, which is great. They don't throw, which is interesting. So at least, again, chip for the crunch. And then they switch into Kyogre. Whoa, this is crazy. What a switch. What a switch. They actually had some play. But they had a Blizzard Kyogre, which is not looking too good. So now we got to chip it. We got to farm down to see if we can get to back-to-back. But our health is too low, and our Xerneas can Geomancy down and get to another move, and that's kind of the GG's. I think in that situation there, I could have maybe thrown the move before they threw the Blizzard to scare them to shields more than anything. So it could have been an actual win opportunity in that match, but I kind of fumbled it right towards the end there. Getting a little fancy when I don't need to. Happens most times, and I really need to do as well. So we see a Florges in the lead, and they switch into Rhyperior. Crazy. Throw the Night Slash to see if I can get a boost, but look at these. Look at this damage. I could have probably just farmed down before they get to a Rock Wrecker, but you got a shield at least. Their floor just comes back in. I'm just like wanting to keep this thing alive as much as I can, but they throw the move and we just have to let it go. Disarming Voice is going to knock us out. We could tank either Moonblast or Disarming Voice. That's at least the one thing about Zygarde that's great as a dragon user. It's going to hurt, but hey, like, we did it. So we're trying to build up as much as you can before they throw another Disarming Voice. Try to be ahead of energy as much as we can. And it is a Prima Waterfall in the back. Man, I wish Kartana just had that health to survive or that shields. Man, if we had like the boost, this game would have been crazy. So what I'm going to do here is build up energy and try to switch just so they're not stacking up on Disarming Voice because it's Waterfall. And crazy enough, we just got the CMP tied to the Aqua Tail here, and we're going to knock out this Prima and we're going to win this match. A little too close for comfort, but we managed. ABA Fairy, we managed. The Crozma in the lead, not really the best. We do technically win it in the ones. I believe they win it in the twos, but it's kind of like a bait game in this case. So we're going to let this go. They do have Outrage. So again, like I talked about earlier, it's probably Outrage and Ironhead. That's my prediction. So I'm wondering, should I keep shields? I'm going to like, nah, I'm just going to let it go and just come in Palkia and just start building up some energy. I'm definitely going to shield because the Outrage is going to pretty much knock us out. I'm just trying to build up extra energy as much as I can. Try to throw the move before they get to another move. I don't think they're going to shield here. I'll be very surprised. Yep, they knock it out. They have their own Palkia. So we're going to bait to see if they're going to shield, which I'm assuming they will. And then we're going to come in our Kartana. Shields are down. What's going to happen? They're going to throw the Aqua Tail here. We do survive it. I just wanted to shield just to keep it healthy. Again, Kartana, as much chip damage as we can would be amazing. And it's a Kyogre in the back. What do you know? By the time they probably get to a Surf, it's going to be less than 50% health. And then, yeah, Palkia can finish the game. This beautiful match. I believe we showcased this in our short. We chopped it up because we try to keep it under a minute for those shorts. But Waterfall Prima, they should have stayed in, I think. This is, by the way, Triple Fairy lineup, if you haven't noticed already. So they switched out. They caught the crunch, which is great by them. Which, yeah, I mean, if we got, you know, if they were debuffed, it would have been really great. Those Razor Leaves were really shred, which I wouldn't have to necessarily throw this Night Slash, if anything. And I was in hopes trying to get a boost. So we do get a shield. I'm like, I don't really want to double it down because I know it's going to be Triple Fairy. And it is a Xerneas, which is not great. I'm trying to see if I can chip. We do get another shield. My only win con was this here. I thought they're going to build up to the CC and throw it to knock us out because they're going to switch into the Prima to clear the debuff, and we caught it onto the Zygarde, which is beautiful. It gives us extra farm so we can land this Earthquake. Again, any chip damage is great. So my situation that I'm thinking of in my head is, well, they have a lot of residual energy. I want to keep Kartana healthy. Palkia wins CMP against Prima and against Xerneas, but we're going to farm this down to try to get to an Aqua Tail and then switch into our Kartana, which we did. So we banked the Aqua Tail, we switched, and here I thought they maybe going to go to Moonblast and not debuff themselves, which I would almost assume that was their win con number 2 at least. But they went back-to-back close combats and then Aqua Tail knocked down. We managed to farm down before they get to Disarming Voice. A very close game, but Triple Fairy versus ABA Dragon. Crazy. Crazy. Here we go, last match. I threw 2 bonus matches. This is 12 battles. The set in the beginning was a 5-0. Second one was a 4-1. Here we go. They switch into a Fairy type, so we're thinking it's going to be another Fairy in the back. Most likely Prima. So we're just farming. Look at this chip damage from Razor Leaf. It's ridiculous. I'm going to throw the move here. See if we get a shield. We do. They want both shields down. It's okay. I'm going to double down here because we're pretty much at another move. Rhyperior is going to come in and they're not going to appreciate this Leaf Blade, if anything. I could have thrown the Night Slash, but just in case they let it go, it's something that we just didn't want to have. So I tried a combo play here. They switch into their Prima. We have a lot of residual energy. Charm Prima can't keep up with Zygarde with that much energy. We doubled down on the Earthquake, and then the Rhyperior is going to come back in. It's going to get a lot of farm, but it's going to have to throw a move because the Crunch is pretty much going to knock out. Almost. Not really, but almost. And then we just come in with Palkia. We're just going to keep on chipping because really, my fast moves. And that is basically it. Like I said, running Spice. I'm going to keep this in the back of my head for the next season. Who knows if the moves don't change as much, but Kartana was actually core breaking teams. Between the Rhyperior Prima core, it's just ridiculous, or at least the double fairy to double waters. I mean, Kartana has play. If you keep it away from Yveltal, keep it away from Ho-Oh. We don't see Lugia as much, but keep it away from a couple of those flyers where they resist the fast move pressure and the charge moves. Things are looking pretty good. So there we go with the battles. We're going to try to post a couple more before the season ends and come up with other ideas for videos. But everyone have a good day, good night wherever you're at, and I'll see you in the next video.